What's up? What's up? What's up? What's good, y'all? This is your guy Manny. Welcome to another episode of the Talking Sports with Manny YouTube channel. This is the Talking Sports with Manny podcast. We're gonna dive into the NBA. We're gonna dive into the NFL. We're gonna dive into some fantasy football as well. In a minute, in about 7 minutes, I'm gonna um, let the TikTok group come in. But for now, it's just YouTube and Facebook and Twitch. So shout out to my guy Austin Reeves for the Lakers. I'm going to talk more about him a little later because I want to have the Twitter crowd when I talk about this. It's been a lot of scoring in the NBA this year. NFL looks great. My Commanders play tonight. I don't know how long I'm going to watch my squad tonight. They're playing against the Kansas City Chiefs, so it could be a game that ends rather quickly. So let's go ahead and kick things off with the NFL with some of the games from this past weekend, and then just kind of dive in and talk about these different games. Let's start off with the game that happened on Thursday night. It was the Chargers versus the Vikings. The Vikings got destroyed. Chargers looked great. Justin Herbert seems to be back to being Justin Herbert again. Threw the ball for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns. Vidal had a great game, 23 carries for 117 yards and 1 touchdown. And this is somebody that they might be able to, add in addition to Omarion Hampton coming back. So Vidal has looked good. It's like a plug and play for these guys. They just continue to have professionals out there. And Carson Wentz, man, he looks horrible. Put up 10 points, and he seems to be the guy that's going to be losing his job. JJ McCarthy, at first it was cool. Wentz was playing all right. Now he's struggling to score 10 points. This is versus a Chargers defense that has been up and down all year. Granted, Khalil Mack is back. His shoulder popped into a different direction. Now it's back to the right direction, and he looks good out there. So I don't know what it's going to look like for these guys the rest of the season, but we're going to dive into like the standings later and some of the stats later. But yeah, man, Lad McConkey, he looked great. Just all in all, good game for the Chargers. Chargers are now 5-3 and second in their division. The Chiefs, if the Chiefs lose tonight, well, the Chiefs are 4-3, but they have a chance to. Wait, did I say the Chargers were number one in their division? They might be. We'll see what happens with the Chiefs tonight if they beat the Commanders. The next game I want to talk about is the Dolphins versus the Falcons. The Falcons, that's like the ultimate inconsistent team. They're half good, half bad, right? Tua Tagovailoa had probably his best game of the season. He threw 26 times, completed 20 of those, 205 and 4 touchdowns. He looked good. He looked efficient. And that's what you want out of your quarterback. But I still feel like Tua is gone after this season. It's either Tua's gone or the coach is gone. Something has to happen. You can't blame it on injuries. There are teams out there winning with injuries. Devon Chain had 18 carries for 67 yards. Jalen Waddle had 5 receptions for 99 yards. But the whole thing was with Michael Penix not being able to play. They just really had no answer. Like you have Kirk Cousins, a overpaid backup, right? And I'm thinking that this is going to be a game where Kirk Cousins shows that he still has game. He did not look good. Matter of fact, let me pull up Kirk Cousins' stats because he didn't look good at all. He struggled, and this is versus a Miami's defense that has given up a lot of play. I mean, a lot of yards to offenses, not just passing but also rushing. So Kirk Cousins, 31 pass attempts, 21 completions, 173 yards receiving. He was sacked one time, but he did nothing. Bijan Robinson, mind you, this is a Miami defense that gives up tons of yards to running backs, and I can guarantee you that Devon Chain goes crazy in practice versus these guys. And when you look at it, Bijan Robinson was unable to be efficient. He was unable to be decent. He had 9 carries for 25 yards, and that's crazy to me. Kyle Pitts was like the only bright, so Drake London missed the game, Penix missed the game, but still, you still had enough on offense. You have Mooney, you have Pitts, you have Bijan, and you were unable to produce. And Bijan fumbled, which he hardly ever fumbles, but he fumbled. In fantasy, he had a horrible game, game. So you had guys like Devon Chain catch a touchdown. You had Ollie Gordon catch one. You had Malik Washington, Jalen Waddle. And what's wrong with this Falcons defense? And remember, they traded up to come get a pass rusher. Matter of fact, they drafted 2 pass rushers, and neither one of those guys have been good at all. So y'all excuse me for a second while I patch in the TikTok crew. All right. I usually like to bring them in later. But yeah, man. All in all, Falcons did not look good at all. And I don't know where they go this season. With all they did to improve the pass rush, they only had 1 tackle. Now, obviously, I can't tell you about the pressures because I didn't watch the game. It was a boring game. Falcons are now 3-4. And this is why Commanders fans are mad at the coach. This is the Falcons offense that scored 10 points, 0 points prior to coming to playing the Commanders, and they were able to put up crazy points and yards versus the Commanders. Them and the Bears, right? Then the Bears weren't able to produce versus a weak defense in Baltimore. So it's just a lot of things going on in the NFL right now. And I'm going to get to the most exciting game in the middle of breaking down the games, because the most exciting game is going to shock you guys. It wasn't a game that we was expecting. There was a lot of blowouts this week, a lot of meaningless football this week, but football is football altogether. The Baltimore Ravens were able to defeat the Chicago Bears 30-16. And this was a game where I thought that Lamar Jackson was going to be available to play. He was unavailable to play. And they still ended up playing well. It just shows you how bad Cooper Rush has been in that particular offense. Cooper Rush was a decent backup in Dallas, but in this particular offense that needs a quarterback to be mobile. And you notice, this is not a race thing. You notice that a lot of the backup QBs in Baltimore were black. Not only just being black, they were mobile QBs. There were a time when they had 2 or 3 mobile QBs and then bringing in one off the practice squad. So with Tyler Huntley, who's been here before, he just fits what they like to do. Derrick Henry looked good this game. 21 carries for 71 yards and 2 scores. So all in all, Baltimore was solid. Zay Flowers, 7 receptions for 63 yards. Rashad Bateman was alive in this game with 51 yards. Charlie Kolar scored a touchdown on National Tight End Day. A lot of tight ends scored touchdowns this week. So shout out to all the tight ends who scored touchdowns on National Tight End Day. Rome Odunze was good. He was efficient. 10 targets, 7 receptions for 114 yards. He didn't have a score, but he was definitely unstoppable versus that weak Baltimore defense. But Caleb Williams, man, he's up and down. Although he passed the ball fairly well, he had yards. He wasn't efficient. And then he threw a pick. So on top of that, like, this Bears offense did not look good. The defense already doesn't look good, but all in all, they didn't look good. Shout out to Baltimore. This win might have been a win that helps to save their season. So with that being said, we move on to the next game. Let's go ahead and get to the most exciting game of the day. And this was the Cincinnati Bengals versus the New York Jets. Remember, last week, Joe Flacco saved the season for the Bengals. And he played well. This is not a Joe Flacco thing. He played well. And the Bengals were supposed to win this game, and they blew it. The Jets go on to score 23 points in the 4th quarter, not only to win the game, but the way they won the game was just crazy to me. These guys did virtually nothing up until the 4th quarter. They go crazy, and then the Bengals were not able to capitalize. Justin Fields, you hear all the stories about him crying, and then he went through a lot. He went through a lot. It says, I was surprised the Jets got their first win. Absolutely. I was surprised and shocked as well. I'm going to get this question from somebody on Twitch, and then I'm going to keep this podcast going. It says, would you trade Jonathan Taylor for Puka and Mingo? I have Gibbs, so it's kind of like an insurance for Gibbs, debating because Taylor being too good. I wouldn't trade Jonathan Taylor. I'm sorry. That's the one guy that I won't trade in fantasy right now. This guy is on his way to a historical season. This guy has scored, what did I say, 3 touchdowns, 3 straight games, 3 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns. He's been that good. So he's a guy that I want to trade. But back to this analysis for this Jets game. Joe Flacco played well, like I said. 34 attempts, 21 completions, 223 yards, and 2 touchdowns. And then Perine was a shocker. Like he surprised me. 9 carries for 94 yards and a score. So he should be a top waiver wire pickup this week. Chase Brown also looked good. 12 for 73 and a score. Jamar Chase, 19 targets. Jamar Chase got 19 targets. And T. Higgins got 2 targets. This is crazy. So out of the 33 targets, Jamar Chase got 19 of it. Like, do the math. That's crazy. He caught 12 for 91. So what this means is that Jamar Chase is most likely going to lead the NFL in targets as long as Joe Flacco is the QB. Now, Chase would have had a bigger day had he scored. So he did everything right. Now, Trey Hendrickson gets hurt. We all know that Cincinnati did not prioritize defense. Sorry, I went blank for a minute. They did not prioritize defense. And then you see it. Like, a team like the Jets who's done nothing. Justin Fields, like I said, he's been down. He's been down. He lost his job. He was not supposed to play this week. And then you have a scenario where Tyrod Taylor, he's out. And then now Justin Fields is back. So I don't know if this is what gets Justin Fields going again, but this reminds me of when Tyrod had the job. I want to say it was versus, I think when Tyrod was with the Chargers. Or maybe another team. It's been like 2 teams where Tyrod has had the job, and then an injury to Tyrod opens it up for the next guy. So I think one time was the Chargers. The second time it happened, I can't remember. And this is now happening again with Tyrod getting hurt, getting Justin Fields back on the field because he wasn't supposed to play this week. And he goes on that throw for 244 yards and a touchdown. So somebody's asking, what are y'all going to do tonight? Man, I don't know, man. For tonight, I honestly think that we're going to struggle. This is Terry McLaurin's first game back in forever. Deebo Samuels is also back. So I'm going into this game with no expectations. Matter of fact, I'm watching this game at home. Usually I'll go somewhere, but I think I'm watching this game at home. Somebody says, I offered Drake London and J.K. Dobbins for Olave and Puka. And he said, no, his receivers, his receiver core is so mid. Yeah, I can understand why he's not going to make that trade. I mean, Puka's next level. And, you gave up 3 guys. You offered Drake London, J.K. Dobbins, and Olave for Puka, and he says no? Now, that's crazy. This is trade Saquon for Sutton. Trade Saquon and Sutton for Puka and Gibbs. Yeah, I would do it. I would do it. Anytime you're getting Puka and Gibbs, you do it. Another good game this week was what was it? This San Francisco game was pretty good. It was San Fran versus Houston. I had San Fran winning this game, but CJ Stroud came in and played possibly his best ball of the season. CJ Stroud had 318 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, and 1 INT. Woody Marks looked good, 11 carries for 62. Chubb pitched in with 17 for 56. And then the receiving core with no Nico Collins, with no Christian Kirk, guys like Xavier Hutchinson, 5 for 69 in the score, right? Jalen Noel, he had 5 for 63. Woody Marks, 4 for 49. He was able to spread the ball, and he had multiple guys receiving passes, including Jaden Higgins, who had 4 for 34 in the score. That was pretty dope. I wasn't trying to rhyme there, but it is what it is. San Francisco, Mac Jones, he was all right. 193 yards passing, 2 scores, and then he had an INT. CMC didn't look good running the ball. He tried in the rushing game. Houston's defense was just so good. Mac Jones was sacked twice. Overall, possibly the best game Houston has played all year, and they needed this game because now they're 3-4. So great game for Houston. All right, I'm gonna get to some of these questions. It says Debo or Terry in my flex tonight. I'm gonna go Debo. Let me get to some more of these questions. It says last night's game. It says I'm down 9 points with flex spot available. Who should I place? Worthy, Pacheco, or Debo? That's tough. I would say Debo, but also I do feel like all the Kansas City Chiefs wide receivers should do well because the Commanders' defense is pretty bad. So, but it's like which KC receiver? That's my thing. I don't know. So to me, it's between Worthy and Debo. And if I'm a betting man, which I'm not, I would bet that Debo possibly gets more targets than Worthy. So more targets essentially equates to more yards. So, but it'll be interesting to see with Terry back, will Debo now be reverted back to returning kickoffs? I'm not sure. It says trade Chase Brown for Diggs or Diggs. Chase Brown and Diggs for Emeka and Debo. Yeah, give me Emeka and Debo for sure. Emeka and Debo is who I would pick. Let me see. All right, so I'm done with the questions. Now, move on to the next game. Next game I want to talk about is Buffalo versus Carolina Panthers. There's not much to talk about this game. Carolina was terrible. They're 4-4 in the season. It's shocking that they're 4-4. I don't know how they get wins because like they win and then they lose. They look good. I guess they look decent versus bad teams. Now Bryce Young didn't play. I think that Andy Dalton is an upgrade over Bryce Young, but nevertheless, that whole Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dowdle thing, it's been interesting to watch. Rico Dowdle had 8 carries for 54. Chuba Hubbard had 12 carries for 34, but he had a score. So it's literally like an almost even split, 50-50 split. And it looks like Chuba Hubbard is the one that's getting the scoring plays or the touchdowns. Tet came back to life. 10 targets, 7 receptions for 99. And outside of Tet, there was nobody else really there to like really produce offensively. Defensively, they were very, very bad. Josh Allen had his way with them. He only threw the ball 19 times for 163 and a score, but he did rush for 2 touchdowns. And then, of course, James Cook had a crazy game, 19 carries, 216 yards rushing and 2 scores. So James Cook has looked amazing. Outside of Jonathan Taylor, James Cook has been possibly one of the more consistent RBs or one of those RBs that have that blow-up potential to have a crazy, crazy good game. Shout out to Khalil Shakir with 6 receptions for 88 yards and a score. All in all, total domination on all facets of the game. Shout out to the Bills defense getting 7 sacks in this game. Hey, Duck, what's good? Duck says HTTR, man, we got this. Hey, I hope so, man. I'm going to be staying at home watching this game, but I hope that the Commanders pull this one off. It says Drake May. Okay, yeah, shout out to Drake May. It says, who do I start? Allen versus KC or May versus ATL? Drake May. Okay. Yep. All right. Next game I want to get into is let's talk about Drake May. Let's talk about the Cleveland Browns versus the 6-2. The 6-2 New England Patriots. The Patriots look great. They're tearing it up right now. Dylan Gabriel, he started out looking good. He threw 2 touchdowns, threw 2 INTs. Quinshon Judkins gets hurt with a shoulder injury, and once he kind of like went down, this offense went down with it. Harold Fannin has been good all season, 6 receptions for 62 yards on the score. Shout out to the 2 tight ends of the Cleveland Browns, Harold Fannin Jr. and David Njoku on scoring touchdowns on Tight End National Day. Now, let's look at Drake May. 24 pass attempts, 18 completions, 3 touchdowns and 1 INT. And this is versus a top 5 defense. Now, we know the Cleveland Browns are bad on offense, but when it comes to defense, they are one of the best defenses in the league, if not the best. Now, one thing that was unique about this game is although Drake May had a great game, he was sacked 6 times, and 5 of those sacks was Myles Garrett. And you saw Myles Garrett on the sidelines. He was mad. He took off his helmet. He's throwing it on the ground. And I had no sympathy for the guy. Myles Garrett decided to take the money, and he says, you know what? I don't care about being on a good team. I don't care about being on a team that's competitive. I choose money, and he chose money, and now he's in a situation to where he doesn't know what to do. Fitness is asking, do I start Zach Ertz tonight? I don't know who I like tonight with the Commanders. Their receivers are back, so it could be a game where Ertz doesn't get the kind of love he normally gets. So with the Commanders, man, if you need Ertz, you play him. If you don't, it could be a long night. It could be a long night for those guys. All right, another game I want to dissect. Before I leave this game, shout out to Mac Hollins for scoring catching all 7 targets, 89 yards. He looked great. Kayshon Boutte continues to produce 3 receptions for 75 yards and a score. I don't know how Drake May is doing this, but he's finding random wide receivers and he's making these guys look like star, man. That's just the power of Drake May. He looks good. He's looked good all year. And hopefully he continues because he was a guy that I was excited about in the pre-draft process. Now let's go to the Giants and the Eagles game. The last time the Giants and Eagles played, the Giants were able to surprise the Eagles. This time you remove that element of surprise. It says NFL QBs can make lemonade out of lemons. Mahomes can make lemonade out of bricks. But here's the thing, though. Although these QBs, when they're good, can, overachieve or do some magical things, there are some quarterbacks that are struggling without weapons. So everybody isn't a Mahomes. Everybody isn't a Drake May. So when you have a Drake May or a Mahomes, you appreciate those guys because those guys elevate their team, right? You have teams where, like Justin Herbert, last 2 years, he hasn't had weapons. He has not looked good. Justin Herbert with a few additional receivers this year looks amazing, right? Looks great. It says, all right. It says trade Tet for Bucky. 8-0. I would if I need a running back. It says who's scoring tonight in NFL? I'm hoping Terry scores. We know Mahomes is probably going to have around 3 touchdowns. It could be Worthy. It could be, definitely Rashee Rice is possibly going to score tonight. Every pass catcher, I think Kelsey scores tonight as well. They're going to have a good game. I can see Mahomes go for 3-4 touchdowns easily. They're going to shred that Commanders defense. It's going to be, can the Commanders score to keep up with these guys? It could be a tough one, but I got faith. I got some with Terry coming back, he has a point to prove. Debo coming back. This would be like the second or third game that both guys have been on. Somebody says C-Rod scores tonight. Oh man, that's rough. It says scoring 47. No, I don't think so. 600 yards of offense possibly. I don't know. That's 600. It has to be at least 400 coming from the Chiefs, right? I just don't know how that game is going to go. I have no expectations whatsoever. So the Giants and the Eagles. The Eagles win this game in great fashion, 38-20. No A.J. Brown, no problem. Saquon Barkley came back to life. On 14 carries, he had 150 yards in the score. He did get hurt, but hopefully he comes back and he's come back healthy. But Tank Bigsby had 9 carries for 104 yards. These guys were able to take off for big runs. So it tells you, although the Giants have a good front 4, because they say front 7, no, it's front 4. They get after the quarterback, but they are terrible at stopping the run. And receiving wise, Devonta Smith had 84 with 6 receptions. Jahan Dotson had a 40-yard bomb, and then that was pretty much it. Dallas Goedert did have 2 touchdowns on National Tight End Day. And Saquon Barkley had a receiving touchdown. So Saquon Barkley went crazy this game. But in fantasy, go ahead and grab you some Tank Bigsby just in case. 4KT Owen says, drop Vidal for Tracy. I wouldn't. Vidal was just as productive, if not more productive than most RBs. So I'm not dropping Vidal for Tracy. Although Tracy now becomes a guy, how effective can Tracy be? Like, what are you expecting Tracy to be in this offense? That's the question. So that's a no for me. If you guys are new to the channel, please subscribe, please follow. If you're enjoying what you're hearing, so I'd use Mariota as a starter, as a rusher as well. Yeah, the last time they did that a lot, Mariota fumbled. So you can use him as a rusher, but it could be risky if he gets hurt. Then now you're down to your third quarterback, which is Josh Johnson, who's terrible. So as much as, you know, Mariota can be dialed in on rushing plays, I would say like read option or pistol type offense. It says at least Mariota is plug and play for Washington offense. Yeah, absolutely. Says, how are you feeling about tonight? I'm not feeling good at all. Usually I'll go somewhere to watch the game. I'm not going anywhere tonight. I'll be at home. I'll have that option to switch to my Lakers by 9:30 when they come on TV. So I'm not feeling good at all about this game. I'm not nervous because I'm not expecting much from my Commanders. Now, if they happen to win, you know, I'll be excited. The Chiefs are about to. Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Like, there's a reason why they've been to the Super Bowl as many times as they have in the last few years. So that's that. What other games were there on Sunday? I think I've covered most of them. Let's dive into. Oh yeah, the Cowboys lost, and that made me feel so good, man. I was happy. I was happy to see the Cowboys struggle. Somebody says, but I'm assuming that Mariota can get past Chris Jones. Man, it depends. It's like if you're rolling them out on the edge and you're giving them that option to pass. But if you're talking about drop back, I don't know, man. Chris Jones is a dog. Yeah, the Cowboys lose. Cowboys lose 44-24. And after beating the terrible Commanders defense last week with six string wide receivers, people off the practice squad, Cowboys fans were happy and celebrating. Dak Prescott had his worst game of the season, 188 yards passing and 2 INTs. And this is with CeeDee Lamb back. Javonte Williams, he struggled. 13 carries for 41 yards. He did have 2 scores. On top of that, George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb were targeted 9 and 10 times respectively. And both guys had 7 receptions each, 1 for 78 yards and 1 for 74 yards. So the passing game was there. They were dialed in. But defensively is where they struggled. Bo Nix had 4 TDs, 1 INT. He had 247 yards. Not only that, J.K. Dobbins had 15 carries for 111 yards, and then R.J. Harvey had 7 carries for 46 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it was one of those games. Troy Franklin pitched in 6 for 89 and 2 scores, and then you had Pat Bryant. Welcome to the NFL. 2 receptions for 40 yards and a score. R.J. Harvey pitched in with another receiving score, 3 touchdowns. So if you started R.J. Harvey in fantasy, you most likely won your league. All right, let's get into some of these questions. It says Keenan Allen and Bucky Irvin for CeeDee Lamb and Bam Knight. That's a yes for me. Off topic. Why aren't the logos and the unis for Washington military themed or a cameo? I don't know. Or cameo. I don't know why our logos are W, right? And there is no military theme. I think the Commanders have to keep the burgundy and gold, or you're going to lose a lot of fans. The biggest thing with the name change was the colors have to change, and the colors have to stay the same. We are a burgundy and gold nation, and it's burgundy and gold until the blood turns cold. So it's one of those things where they were more so focused on the colors. So I don't know how you can have like some military pants. It's like burgundy and gold. I don't know how that's going to look, but yeah, there's nothing military about this name. It's Commanders, but it's like whatever. Just, hey man, I'm gonna need your Commanders to BTA KC for us Denver fans, man. Hey, That would be lovely, man. If the Commanders win, I'm going live tonight. I'm coming live. I'm coming on live, and it's going to be the hypest you've ever seen me on a live. I'm pretty calm right now. It says after Garrett Wilson had a good week, should I try to trade him? Yeah, absolutely. But when is he going to have a good week again, being that he's injured? So I do like Garrett Wilson a lot. He's elite when he plays, when he's healthy. Even with Justin Fields, he's looked good all year. It says I need Mariota to turn to Oregon. Absolutely. Like if we can get that Mariota tonight, man, I will be so happy. I'll be so happy just to get a good Mariota. I think if the offense can keep up with Kansas City, it's going to be a good game. But it's like, can they? That's all I'm worried about. Can we stick with these guys offensively? So the Bucs and Saints game, I'm not going to get too much into it. Sean Tucker scores a touchdown. Shaheed had 9 receptions for 75 yards. Baker Mayfield had, his worst game of the season, and they still win 23-3. The Bucs are now 6-2. With all the injuries, the Bucs continue to find ways to win, and the Saints are in the running for the number 1 overall pick. It says he should be back after the bye, most definitely. If KC keep this trajectory, teams should build specifically to beat them. Yeah. All they needed was Rashee Rice to come back, and literally the offense has turned into a juggernaut. Now, what is interesting also is that the KC's run offense is not that good. So maybe something that the Commanders can exploit and just have more guys to cover the pass and force them to run. I don't know. I have Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Ricky Pearsall, Kayshon Boutte, and a bad Houston wide receiver. Should I try to trade for a better wide receiver? I mean, you have solid wide receivers. Kayshon's been straight. Drake London is good when he plays. Garrett Wilson is good when he plays. So it's one of those things where if I'm you, play the waiver wire, see what's out there. But if you have to trade one, you trade one to get better. Hey, look out for y'all on beating the Cowboys. Get these Chiefs out of here. It says run for KC. It's a mid coverage. But if they drop back, Pacheco with these. Yeah, Pacheco does not scare me. That's the crazy part. Pacheco, to me, is a terrible running back. Pacheco does not scare me at all. I like Kareem Hunt better than, but it is what it is. All right, what other games were? Oh, yeah, the Titans and the Colts, man. Oof. The Colts are the best team in the NFL, 7-1, due to Daniel Jones coming in and fitting into that system. Daniel Jones had 12 carries for 153 yards, 2 scores. I'm sorry, that was Jonathan Taylor. 12 carries, 153 yards, 2 scores. And then also, breaking news. Hold on. Carson Wentz shoulder needs injury, so that means more play for J.J. McCarthy. Now, this could be great or this could be bad because J.J. McCarthy hasn't looked good. But back to the Colts. Daniel Jones, 272 yards, 3 scores. Michael Pittman. I'm going to do a little video with TikTok later with Michael Pittman. This dude had 8 receptions for 95 yards and a score. He has looked good all year. And I remember people were out on Pittman. They were saying all kinds of stuff about Pittman, this and that. Pittman is legit. If you like Drake London, you should like Pittman. If you like these bigger wide receivers, you should like Pittman. He is a really good receiver. He just needed a quarterback. And Daniel Jones continues to play well. And Daniel Jones could be a guy that gets paid. I'll talk about this every week. He's leading the best offense in the league right now. It says the Colts have the best record in NFL and not necessarily the best team. I take KC over Indy. I mean, I get it. But that's why you play the game. Let's see what a healthy KC team looks like versus a healthy Indianapolis team. Jonathan Taylor's next level, man. He's matchup proof. He's putting up numbers versus everybody. So it's not necessarily a Daniel Jones thing or this is the Colts or whatever. The Colts play really good defense. They run the ball and they pass the ball. So when you have a running back that's putting up elite numbers, it allows you to then calm things down for a guy like Daniel Jones to hit the wide receiver. But They are a well-oiled machine. On defense, they look good. They sacked Cam Ward 4 times. The Titans were unable to move the ball. I know it's the Titans, but still, they did what they were supposed to do. Michael Pittman looked good. Alec Pierce goes deep for receptions. Tyler Warren, one of the best tight ends in the league. Josh Downs coming into his own. Of course, JT. You got Daniel Jones. You have a good return man in Amir Abdullah. So you have a solid team all the way around, and they have a really good defense. So we'll see what they look like versus KC. When you look at KC, they have a good defense. They have a good defensive coordinator, a good offense, good receivers. Tight end is old, but still good. So that's a matchup I want to see. But at the end of the day, the Chiefs. Let's see what happens tonight with the Chiefs. If they win, they're 5-3, and then they're on their way to becoming one of the better teams in the AFC. If the Chiefs happen to lose tonight, oh man, ESPN is going to go crazy. It says, I can't wait for Marcus, Captain Mariota to get my Chiefs defense score 15 points tonight. It says, why does organization despise protecting your young generation of QBs? First RG3, now JD5. Injuries happen. You can ask the same question about Cincinnati Bengals. What is their issue, right? They had a chance to draft Penei Sewell. They drafted Jamar Chase. They felt that receivers are more important than wide receivers, right? Now, for the Commanders, they've been able to go ahead and get guys like Laremy Tunsil. They've drafted a guy in the first round. So you can't say that they're not trying to protect their QB. They're trying. But all I'm saying is that injuries happen whether you are a running QB or not a running QB. Because both have the same issues, bottom three O-lines. I disagree. Samuel Cosman's Pro Bowl level guard. He just returned last week. Like I said, Laremy Tunsil was one of the best left tackles in the league. You drafted a guy in the first round who's trying to come up. You have Chris Paul. You have Biotic, who is a former Pro Bowler. So I can't say that Washington has a bottom three O-line. That's crazy to say. Now, you can say something similar to the Bengals, who continue to pay wide receivers and continue to pay certain positions and then neglect that offensive line. No draft capital and no dollars into that line. There's no, he's not. Maybe 5 years ago. Who are you talking about? Tunsil. Tunsil is still legit. It says tonight's the night. I hope so. It says, who do you think has the best defense? Man, it's between Denver, Cleveland. There's a lot of good defenses out there, but there's also a lot of bad defenses out there. I believe the Colts have a good defense. There's not a lot of teams out there with really good defenses. Kansas City has a good defense. I can count maybe like 3 or 4 teams that I say, oh, that's a good defense, right? The Eagles used to. The Giants have a nice front four. Browns have a total nice defense, but the offense makes them look so bad. The Vikings have a decent defense, but they've been bad over the course of time. Houston has a really good defense. And then the Packers, right? So what I named like about 7 teams. About 7 teams. So, but speaking of Packers, let's go ahead and get into this Steelers and Packers game. Aaron Rodgers came in, started out hot. They were up 13-7, and then it was all she wrote. In that fourth quarter, 3 touchdowns by Green Bay to seal this game. Jordan Love went crazy, 360 yards passing, 3 scores. Tucker Kraft on National Tight Ends Day, 9 targets, 7 receptions for 143 and 2 scores. He looks great. Defense played well, not the best. Rashawn Gary had 2 sacks, and Michael Parsons had a sack as well. Aaron Rodgers was frustrated all game. I think one of his teammates fumbled. I think it was a running back, Kenneth Gainwell. And if you looked at his face, he was so mad. But at that time, the game was out of reach. Roman Wilson had his best game of his pro career, 4 receptions for 74 in the score, and DK Metcalf for 5 for 55 in the score as well. Other than that, it just is what it was. Green Bay looked good, and that's another team in the NFC that looks really, really good. So I've covered all the games this week. We're going to dive into the standings in the NFL as well as stats, and then we'll get into the NBA in a minute. It says up by 3, and I have Kelsey. Opponent has Brashad Smith. Do I win? I think you win. If the Chiefs use Brashad Smith correctly, he could have a big night tonight. I think he's the guy that takes over that backfield. I'm not a Pacheco guy. I'm not a Kareem Hunt guy. They need some juice in that offense. So we'll see. All right. Let's see. So if we're going by league, conference, I'm gonna break it down. So the Colts obviously are number one right now. Oh wow! Breaking news: the Arizona Cardinals have released Michael Carter. That's crazy. Um, I guess that means that Benson is close to coming back, and they like Bam Knight a lot, I guess. But yeah, Michael Carter has been released. But yeah, Colts are number one. New England is number two. Denver's number three. Pittsburgh is four. Buffalo is five. Chargers are six. And the last spot, if the season ended today, goes to the Jacksonville Jaguars at seven. Only because they have that tiebreaker right now. But we know if Kansas City wins tonight, they're probably going to overtake the Chargers, and the Chargers will be outside looking in. So there's some good teams that are still not in the playoff picture right now. Teams like Houston not being in it. Teams like Baltimore not being in it. You know, the rest, like the Miami's of the world, Tennessee, Vegas, we expect those guys to be bad. Cincinnati, with that loss this week, kind of knocks them to 10. But that's a team that can make a push if Joe comes back and they're like in striking distance. But it's going to be fun to watch from Colts all the way down to Cincinnati. That's going to be fun to watch. I don't know who gets in, who's out, but it's going to be a slugfest the rest of the way. But then again, the teams that are 1 and 2, it doesn't mean that those guys are going to be there. It says, can Pacheco score 9 points tonight? I don't know. I'm not a Pacheco guy, but he should be able to. They should be playing with the lead, potentially, right? So he should. He should score 9 points tonight. But then again, I don't know. All right, so when we get to the NFC, you got Green Bay at number 1. You got Eagles at number 2. You have Tampa Bay at 3. Seattle at 4. Detroit at 5. Rams at 6. San Francisco 49ers at 7. After that, and you have like the Bears, you have the Panthers, Cowboys, Falcons, Minnesota, and Washington. All those teams are going to be jockeying around to see who can get up to number 7. But for Washington, they've lost so many games already in the NFC, so it does not bode well for them. They're 1 and 4 in the conference, so they're going to be on the outside looking in. They'll need a miracle to get into the playoffs. They're going to need to either win that NFC East, which is looking unlikely right now, or something along that line. They haven't looked good against the NFC conference. But anyways, teams like Minnesota dealing with QB issues, Atlanta dealing with inconsistencies. You have Dallas not having a defense. So it looks like the top 7 right now are most likely the 7 that gets in, unless something drastic happens. Let's look at the stats around the league, and then we'll dive into basketball. So right now we have Justin Herbert leading the league in passing yards, followed by Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Drake May, and Baker Mayfield. Who do you guys think ends the year with leading the league in passing yards? Who do you guys think leads the league in passing yards? Somebody says Dallas is allowing 31.5 points a game. Yeah, that's pretty bad. How about them Broncos? Yeah, good job, Broncos. Okay, somebody says Danny Dimes is going to lead the NFL in passing yards. I can honestly see that. I can. Just because that Colts offense is just putting up a lot of points right now. But then again, I can see somebody like Dak or Herbert because their defenses are struggling right now. So it kind of goes either way. Bucky and for Brown and Dobbins, yeah, I would make that trade for sure. If you guys are new to the channel and like what you guys are hearing, please follow. Please share. Thanks for all the hearts and the love and everything else. All right, looking at the rushing leaders, you got Jonathan Taylor at 850. The next best guy is James Cook at 753. So almost by 100 yards, Jonathan Taylor is balling right now. That's why I tell you guys, I'm not trading Jonathan Taylor for nothing. This is a guy that's going to rush for 16 to 1,800 yards this season, and he's going to have possibly a total combined 20-plus TDs, both from receiving and rushing. So he could potentially have over 200 yards from scrimmage this year. Shout out to J.K. Dobbins. He's number 3. Shout out to Javonte Williams. He's number 3. These were 2 guys that were written off, and these guys are having major impacts on their respective teams so far. Rico Dowdle is there at number 5 because of that crazy 2 weeks that he had. He's kind of cooled off ever since then. Bills DT Ed Oliver is out indefinitely. Yeah, that's bad for the Bills. That's bad for the Bills, man. That defense is going to be bad all year round. Receiving leader is Jackson Smith-Njigba. He has 819 yards receiving. And mind you, he had a bye week and he's still the leader in receiving yards right now. Jamar Chase is next best with 720. You got George Pickens there, and then you got Puka, who was on a tear until he got hurt. He'll be back soon. And then you have Justin Jefferson to round out the top 5. In interceptions, you have Kevin Byard and Devin Lloyd tied at 4. Then you have Jamel Dean and Tremaine Edmonds tied at 3 and 4 with 3. And then Jalen Petrie as well. In sacks, Myles Garrett went from not even being in the top 5 to being number 1 with his 5 sacks. He now has 10 sacks in the season. Brian Burns has 10. Byron Young has 9. Nick Bonito has 8. And then Rashawn Gary has 7.5. My guy is asking, who is the NBA MVP? Man, so far, you have to say Shea. You have to say SGA. So this is a great transition. We're going to go ahead and dive into the NBA right now. My boy Reeves from my Lakers went crazy yesterday with a 50 burger. He looked good, man. He looked amazing. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting him to carry the torch without Luka being there and then LeBron being there. But for him to go out there yesterday and put up 51 points, DeMar DeRozan was so mad when he came on the thing and they was talking to him and he was like, free throws. He was just, you can just tell that he was just mad that Austin Reeves got 22 free throw attempts. He knocked down 21 of those. He was 6 for 10 from 3, shooting 60%, and then from the field, 12 of 22. Very efficient game. He had 11 rebounds. He had 9 assists, and Luka had a similar game. So this is almost back-to-back 50 burgers for 2 teammates. So somebody says, I got Giannis MVP averaging 35, 15, and 7. But what does his record looks like? We have to remember the MVP is not about the stats, right? It's about the stats and winning. So if you think the Bucks are going to be a top 3 team in the East this year, then I can see a scenario where Giannis wins the MVP. I think this year is going to be both the stats and then also the wins. So another sneaky MVP candidate this year is Luka. If Luka helps his Laker team win, because the West is so tough, I don't even see them top 4. But if he gets them into that top 4, that's a conversation, definitely. Because when you look at this team, they're constructed differently. They have some scrappers. You have Jared Vanderbilt. You have Marcus Smart. Those are 2 guys that are going to like fight everybody, literally. And this team continues to deal with injuries. They just lost Gabe Vincent. He's in a walking boot. You have no LeBron. You have no Luka. Now you got to play more Bronny James, guys like Chris Manning. Christian Colobo's gonna have to play. Nick Smith Jr. There's no Jackson Hayes right now, so this Lakers team is beat up. They are depleted, but they continue to find ways to win. So yeah, shout out to DeAndre Ayton, a guy who had 22 points and 15 rebounds yesterday on a block. He's been goofy since he got to LA, but he looks good so far. The season is still new and still young, but when you look at the stats in the NBA, right, you have Shea. Shea's averaging 40 points a game. And this is crazy because this is a small sample size. So you enjoy these crazy numbers to start the year, right? With Shea putting up numbers like this. And then you have Giannis averaging 36. So I see your point in why he could. It says 3-leg parlay. Cavs, ML, OKC, Warriors. You're welcome. Y'all listen to him. I don't do sports bets, so y'all listen to him. He's giving you guys a free 3-leg parlay for you guys to tell. It says, gotta go. Keep up the good work. Hey, appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for hopping on the stream. It means a lot. All right, so let's get back to the NBA real quick before we you have Austin Reeves at 34 points per game. You have Tyrese Maxey, 34 points a game, right? You have Aaron Gordon, who had a 50 burger the other night with 33.5 points a game. So when you look at this in just this first week of basketball, this looks crazy. Seeing Austin Reeves and Aaron Gordon in the top 5 in scoring is crazy. It's going to be hard to maintain. Appreciate the follow. It's going to be hard to maintain, but it's just so cool to see. And you have Giannis right here averaging 16 rebounds a game. You have Karl-Anthony Towns with 14 rebounds. You have Victor averaging 13.3. Victor is just a cheat code. This is the guy that can do it all. I saw a play where he blocked the ball twice and then got it, went in the logo for 3. It says, "Let's go Chiefs." Good luck to y'all. Y'all most likely get this one. But if y'all don't, I'm going to be back. I'm going to be back later on tonight to celebrate. But I think the Chiefs win this one pretty comfortably this week. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. I'm going to be watching the game. My prayer is to be able to make it to the fourth quarter. But I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to celebrate every good thing we do, just like the Dallas game, right? I knew that my team didn't have a chance because of all the injuries that we had. So I'm watching the Dallas game. I'm excited. I'm clapping. They're like, "Man, why are you so happy?" I'm like, "Look, I have to enjoy the moments, the good moments." So I enjoyed those moments all through the first quarter. And then that Dallas game went crazy. Left hand up, who are we, the Commanders? I used to hate that song, but I love that song now. Nikola Jokic, man. 12.5 assists a game. Like, how is he doing this thing as a center? James Harden, Reeves, Melo Ball, Keontae George. Wow, Keontae George has 9.5 assists a game. That's pretty cool. It says, "What are your thoughts on the recent gambling across the NBA?" It's crazy. I don't know why NBA players or even coaches get involved with gambling in the first place. But then again, you got to blame the NFL and the NBA. They make these things legal, right? So the NFL and everybody else can make money from these games, but the players can't because they can temper or they can hinder the game or they can do stuff to where it's in their favor to win when betting. But it's still so many factors, right? But if you know that it's the rule to not gamble, then why do you do it? What is your prediction on the game tonight? I got the Chiefs winning this game tonight. It's probably going to be like 35 to like 21, something like that. I can see the Chiefs winning by 2 touchdowns. That's what I see. Yeah. Chiefs winning by 2 touchdowns. They're playing at the Chiefs' house, Arrowhead. It's hard for anybody to win there. Even the really, really good teams have a difficult time beating the Chiefs at the Chiefs' home, at the Chiefs' house. So, for the Commanders to win, I was talking to one of my Commanders buddies, and I told him, "Look, man, for the Commanders to win, you're going to need like a pick six. You're going to need a kickoff return, punt return. You're going to need something along that line because the defense is so bad that they're going to need a lot of lucky breaks just to stay in the game, or where the Chiefs are scoring, but then you're returning the ball to like the 50-yard line or past the 50-yard line every time you return the ball, and you're giving yourself a short field. Those are ways that you can kind of stick around this game, but Chiefs probably win by 2 touchdowns tonight. Appreciate the follow. Appreciate the love. Appreciate the likes. So we have Aaron Gordon right now averaging 5.5 made threes. Tyrese Maxey, 5.5 threes. They both are averaging more threes than Steph Curry, who's at 5.3. So we know it's a short sample size. We know it's still early on in the season, so a lot of these things are going to change. But there are some big injuries so far in the NFL. Brooks says, Chiefs versus Washington score prediction. I predict 35 to 21 or 38 to 21 Chiefs. Or 38 to 24, something along that line. I still see the Chiefs winning by 2 touchdowns. So either 38 to 24 or 35 to 21 type game. Let me see. Trey Jones is leading in steals. Zion Williamson. I got to see Zion Williamson play live this past week. Zion versus John Morant. It was a great game to watch, great game to be at. Brooks says, I see a 20 to 38 Chiefs. I can see that. Why did Jacobs get like no reps in the second half? He might have been hurt, maybe. I don't know. I know he's been dealing with injuries last week, so he might be hurt. It says, what is your pregame player prop thoughts before tonight's game, Commanders Chiefs? I don't gamble, so I don't really have any player props. I wish my guy Shelor was on the show with me. He's the one that does the like the player props. But if I get his player prop, I'll post it on my TikTok before the game. So just look out for that. Because he usually sends me his props before the game, but I never like I I put in a bet one time, didn't have a good experience. I said, nah, I'm good. So that's just not my thing. I just stick to fantasy football. Because what do you think of the Cowgirls loss? Man, I celebrated that loss. I was a big Denver Broncos fan on Sunday. Here's your vote. Says Trey Genty, Smitty for Pickens, Dottle. Yeah, I would make that trade. I would make that trade. Because give me Pickens and J.K. Dowdle is just an extra. He says this might get bad tonight for y'all, though I need Debo. Hey, it could be bad. It says Kobe or LeBron. So I'm a Kobe fan. That's like my favorite player of all time. So I would go Kobe. But if you're talking about who's done more for the game, it's LeBron. LeBron's done more for the game. You can argue that LeBron has better numbers, better stats, longevity in the league. LeBron was the king of longevity until LeBron came around. So it's two different guys, two different positions. Hard to compare, but I'm always going to go Kobe just because I'm the biggest Kobe fan. Kobe and Dirk, my two favorite players of all time. So it says, do it. Panthers said Dottle will get majority of careers for the rest of the yeah, like although Dottle's supposed to get the majority of the carries, the last 2 weeks, Chuba Hubbard has gotten more carries. It's just that Dottle has gotten more yards. So, it is what it is. But I am a big, big Dottle fan. I think that Dottle is a better back for that offense. But it is what it is. I got like 11 minutes. If you guys have any questions y'all want to ask, feel free to ask away. But in the NBA, like I said, Anthony Edwards did get hurt, so that could hurt the Timberwolves. It says, "Is Bill is good? Is Bill good for one fantasy point tonight?" Yeah, Bill is good for one fantasy point tonight. At least let's hope. Let's hope that he doesn't get hurt on the first carry. But yeah, he should be good for 1 point. Couple more injuries in the NBA outside of Anthony Edwards. You have Luka going down. So yeah, these injuries, it's almost better to get these injuries out the way first, and then you proceed. I was impressed with the Dallas Mavericks last night. They were able to play D'Angelo Russell a little bit more, which helped the offense all around, right? They struggled the first game not having a point guard, an actual point guard on the floor. Granted, you did play the Raptors, right? So they were able to have a balanced game. Anthony Davis had 25 points, 10 rebounds, 3 steals, 2 blocks. So he looked good. Cooper Flag had his best game of the year with 22 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 assists. PJ Washington pitched in with 17. And off the bench is kind of where they made their money, having guys like Christie with 17, D'Angelo with 14, and Najee Marshall with 12. It says up 20, he has Rice. What do you think? Rice might get 21 tonight. Like, I'm not even gonna hold you. Like, Rice might ball tonight, man. I'm sorry. It says, is the Commanders' playoff hopes over? If they lose tonight, definitely. Like, I mean, it is what it is. Jaden Daniels couldn't play tonight. The chances would have been a lot higher with Jaden playing tonight. I think something drastic is going to happen. They did say that they are going to make some improvements on the defense. They're going to play some of the younger guys today. So we'll see how the defense plays. Thoughts on Roma Dunze rest of the season? Roma Dunze is going to be good all year round. Like, he's the guy. He can end up being a top 10 fantasy wide receiver this year. So I'm rocking with Dunze rest of the way. If you guys like what you guys are seeing, please like, please share, all that good stuff. But yeah, shout out to Dallas, man. Like I said, they are a scary team, and if the Dallas Mavericks, not the Cowboys, if the Dallas Mavericks get Kyrie Irving back and healthy, they're going to be a tough out this year. Just that bench is just crazy. They can just come out with different lineups. In this game right here, I don't even see Klay Thompson. Okay, Klay Thompson did start. He had 10 points. So, yeah, that's a tough team. So, it's a chain in K9 for CD and Derrick Henry. CD owner is 1-7. I'm not mad at it. I like it. It says the only good team in the NFL is the KC Chiefs. They are winning the Super Bowl. The rest is obsolete. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I think a lot of teams have caught up to the Chiefs, but we'll see. It says, you see Gordon put up 50 points against Warriors. Man, look, after that game, I went live. I just happened to be home, relaxing, watching that game. And Aaron Gordon went absolutely crazy with, 10 threes? 10 threes made. It says Chase and Trey Hendrickson for Tay Adams. Okay, Chase and Tay Adams, Hampton, Smitty, and Rashi. Yeah, I would make that trade. It's really Chase for all these guys. Henderson hasn't done nothing. So, yeah, I'll definitely make that trade. None of them had a better than the rest. So somehow I got away with Monty and Henderson for Bucky. It's not bad. Not a bad deal at all. But Bucky has to come back and produce like we know Bucky can. Sometimes it's just tough buying injured players, especially if you don't know the injury or understand the injury or how the injury is going to heal. That's the only risk I would say with getting these guys that are hurt. You never know what you're going to get. Just trade away Emeka Egbuka, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore for Drake London and Tet. You already done. You already made this trade. Okay, it's all right. It's not bad. You're going to need Drake London and Tet to produce at a high clip. Emeka has cooled down last 2 weeks after the injury. He did cool down, but I still believe in Emeka the rest of the way. Says, come on, let's get this win. Lattimore better keep his hand down. Literally, we should tie up Lattimore's hands and just have him run because he can run. He's just real handsy, right? Says T. Higgins and Warren for Swift or Kyron Williams. T. Higgins and Warren for Swift and Kyron Williams. Yeah. One of those trades is like, if I don't need a tight end, then I get it. T. Higgins is so inconsistent. Swift has been better the last 2 weeks. Can he keep it up? Kyron Williams has been consistent all year. So it's not a bad trade. It's really even, honestly. It's all about preference. It says, cancel the WNBA. They can't even play. Oh, man. Tie game. I have Rashi, and he has Chiefs, D, and Bill. Ooh. I think Rashi outscores the Chiefs, D, and Bill. Because if Bill is doing well, then guess what? The Chiefs, D won't be doing well, right? So as long as the Chiefs don't get a punt return or kickoff return or a pick six, you should be fine. Let me see if I get all the questions. Will Worthy do anything tonight? He should. He's playing a weaker defense, so he should be able to have opportunities. The thing is, who gets the majority of the targets? The Chiefs have so many weapons. Hollywood Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster's even a guy, right? You have Kelsey. So it could be that play where Worthy has gotten you down the field off of like a nice 50-yard bomb, and then they take him out and bring in a random wide receiver or a double tight end, and one of those tight ends grab the touchdown. So I don't know how many targets Worthy gets, but I do like Worthy tonight. The only good thing about playing the Chiefs is outside of Rashee Rice and Kelsey, the rest of the receivers are miniature. They're like miniature Chiefs. So I don't know. Could play well into Washington's hands. I don't know. I only need 13 points from him. You should get that easily. Mariota, please take us to the promised land. I sure hope so. Seahawks. All right, leaving in 3 minutes. It says, do you think the Broncos could sweep the Chiefs? They have a chance. The Broncos have a really good team. And sometimes defense wins championships, right? If the Broncos defense step up and play well, they can beat the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs have faced a lot of top-tier defenses this year. So It says, be honest, brother. Are you worried about the Seahawks next Sunday? Of course. Look, I'm worried about it. Look, I'm worried about everybody. I'm worried about Jackson Dart versus the Commanders. Like, I'm just being real. The Commanders' defense is so bad. I'm worried that even the best high school team can come out there and put up points against this defense. So, yeah, I'm worried. Any team that has an offense, I'm worried. Just being real. Does you think our season is cooked if we lose? Most definitely. Like, look at the upcoming schedule, man. They did it so dirty. This schedule is like insane. It's insane. But yeah, man, it's just one of those things. Thanks for your response. Have a good evening. Appreciate you for hopping on the stream. All right, guys, that's my time. I enjoyed you guys. Thank you guys for those who came on the YouTube channel, Twitch, Facebook, TikTok. Appreciate everybody hopping in. If you like what you heard, please subscribe on YouTube. Please follow on TikTok. And if my Commanders somehow win tonight, I'm going to come out and do another live. And I'll be more lively if we somehow get a miraculous win. I'm going to catch you guys on the next episode. I'm out. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel for those who like YouTube. It's Talking Sports with Manny. And also the podcast is on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. It's Talking Sports with Manny podcast. Catch you guys on the next episode. I'm out. Peace.